the freaking light came on in my fucking car. Yeah. Yeah. Could they make the meat any less attractive? Bacon that looks like and tastes like strips of paper?
Yeah.
Did like a kid just draw bacon? It turned out that my it said my tires were low on they were low on air. Yeah. I mean, hey, don't get me wrong. I'm not exactly high on the corporate ladder. The other day, the restroom attendant told me to make sure I put 2 sugars in his coffee.
This is the Snaggletooth Extreme Metal Podcast.
Well, here we are back again.
Indeed.
Happily. I'm excited about this show.
Yeah. How's it going?
So, I was reading some of my little clickbait. I swear to God, they can get you to click on it. They got me to click on it. It said, scientists have never been able to explain.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, well, what's this going to be? Why a bicycle doesn't fall over? And I'm thinking, I am no physicist, but if you stand a hubcap up and just let it go, it goes to the ground, right? If it comes off a car that's moving, it keeps moving. An object in motion tends to stay in motion until acted upon by an outside force. I don't understand how they can make the claim that scientists don't know how a bicycle works.
Did you read the article?
It did.
Did it actually make sense? Like somebody smart wrote it or what?
It never really gave a clear answer. It just said that they know that it works, but they're not sure why. They had somebody with the bike wheel, one turning this way, one turning that way, and it still stayed upright. So it's got to be centrifugal force and all of that. I never thought. I guess they've never put 100%. I mean, it's a bike. It's everybody's like, it's like riding a bike. Once you learn to ride a bike, I don't understand it. I don't understand how
one butt cheek on one side and one on the other.
can do it, but scientists can't explain why it stays up.
Yeah. Okay.
I still didn't quite get why. I guess because nobody ever wrote the algorithm how it works. I don't know.
Seems rather simplistic to me. So I don't know if any of you have this situation in the town you live in, but in our town, we have about 19 smoke and vape shops.
All with their flags out, all flapping.
I mean,
balloons.
To say that pot is the numbing agent of choice here is like saying Tom Cruise is kind of into Scientology.
Yeah, I can get a contact high weekend just running through the neighborhood between it coming out of cars.
Yeah,
and also I can never figure out where exactly it's coming from.
There's got to be so much competition because there's so many. I mean, if you don't get award-winning service at Parkville Vapes, you just go right to JJ's Puff Shop or Kitty's Vape Shack.
And all the dispensaries. Like
you said, it's in vogue now. Sit in your car, pulled off to the side, and just let the Cheech and Chong smoke pour out. Do any of you have any of you witnessed this phenomenon? I'm sure it's perfectly safe condition for driving, right?
Maybe there's a plus here somewhere. Maybe it reduces road rage.
Why not just drop a tab of acid and strap one of those virtual reality things to your face and then be like, I'm pulling into traffic, I can't get behind it, Interesting thing about the weed craze, though, is the people who claim that there are no long-term health effects. I don't buy it. I can tell you, I've been friends with several deadheads over the years and quite a few potheads that go all the way back to my college years. And the long-term effect of smoking a lot of pot is your brain becomes a jumbled file cabinet. You can't access the files with certain words in them anymore. I'm talking after years of pot. Mark, man, sorry, I'm late. The freaking light came on in my fucking car. Yeah. Yeah. And yeah, sorry about that. And it turned out that it said my tires were low they were low on air. Yeah. That's what you get. That's
podcast you said where the guys like that where he can't come up with the words.
Yeah, he sounds like all the other burners that I know. Yeah, just
I can't remember the bands.
It's like your file is deleted. You can't find it for that certain word because your brain is just the files aren't there for that word. You need to be spotted words. Yeah, so It's very irritating to me after a while. And believe me, I've smoked my share,
Like,
but
I've
not that
worked with
much.
people who I answer the same questions every couple days, and nothing's retained.
But then you have like Cheech and Chong pulling up when you
Oh,
were.
well, back when the pandemic was at its height, and we could only do from the restaurant I worked at curbside pickup.
Yeah.
People would, they would order online, and
Yeah.
you had to pay and everything, and then you pull up and you take your food out. The smoke pouring out of these cars was ridiculous. I even had one guy who had an open beer on the console. I'm like, because all
Oh,
fabric
wow.
of society
Okay.
gone away. Back to our story. So, they would pull up, and then they would roll down their window. The smoke would come out. I'd have to like blink my eyes, and they'd be trying to give me their credit card. I'm like, no, you just paid online. They're like, I did? Yes, that's why you had to enter your credit card number.
Yeah.
And they'd be like, oh, I paid. That's so cool, dude. No, I'm not a dude. I am not a dude, neither here nor in a court of law have I ever been close to dudedom.
Shifting gears for a second. Have you noticed the people that are riding the little e-scooters through the city?
Well, again, the Uber people making a killing with those Lime rent-a-scooters.
It's just surreal to me seeing these young women, and they're all dressed up for work. I hear the scratch. These young women all dressed up for work, and they're zipping through intersections like Cindy Lou Who.
Scarf flying.
Yeah. I expect the next phase will be young men in full suits riding big wheels to work.
Mm.
It's just about on the same level. Yeah.
We did see a dude in a suit in DC zipping along on his Razor scooter as his flag of a tie flowed out like, see, I'm reducing my carbon footprint. Absolutely. It was rather touching.
Absolutely. Hey, remember the old hand dryers in the restroom?
Just give me a paper towel. Those paper towels are so cheap.
The old ones in the 80s, they used to have instructions that kind of engraved on them. And there were 2 instructions. 1, press button. 2, hold hands under blower. And we would get a Sharpie and we would write 3, wipe hands on jeans.
Yeah.
It didn't do shit for fuck. So.
The ladies' room, in recent years, I don't know if the men's room has this, but they have put in these dryers that are powered, I believe, by a jet engine. They're ridiculous amounts of force. It's like a gale force wind when you put your hand in there. And I'm always a bit horrified because when you put your hands in, the skin is like blown sideways into weird shapes and wrinkles. It looks like a G-force thing is taken over. You ever see your face in a G-force when it's all contorted? And I'm like, wow. And even after you pull your hands out, they're still dampness.
No, we don't get that in men's room very much. It's mostly little kids that play with those. Most men just do the wipe one jeans thing. I saw this meme going around about how females bond in the ladies' room. It's something about like a lady goes in the ladies' room and there's another lady crying, and they start to visit, and then by the time they come out, she invited her to be one of her bridesmaids from the encounter. I
tell you, at a show, every time you go to a show, someone will compliment you. You compliment them back. Suddenly, you're best friends.
This is not the case in the men's room. We would step over a dead body to get to the urinal, and we wouldn't even think anything of it.
So, or the pee trough.
Yeah.
Are there still pee troughs?
That was okay. So anyway, getting back to kind of useless devices. I noticed the other day I have an overdrive button on the column of my little Nissan Versa. Really? I think it's just there for show because I can't feel any additional power from the little sewing machine engine when I engage the overdrive. I think it's just starting to make me feel better,
Luigi, my Fiat, it had a button and I bought it used, and I guess I never read it, and it said sport. It was a big red button. I was terrified to touch this. What if it would eject?
It was like an ejection button.
It was like, I don't understand what's going to happen if I press this or what.
Probably nothing.
Why would I press it? If I'm drag racing, do you hit sport? I don't know.
You have that had like a little sewing machine engine too, like my car. Yeah. Yeah. Sort of reminds me of the pot scrubber function on the dishwasher. It's completely useless. They might as well label it "Send your dishes into orbit," or sprinkle pots with fairy dust while you're at it, because that button doesn't do shit.
Yeah, it's like, to me, it's a reminder that you should scrub your dishes, because when you shut that door, there are no little fairies that are going to pop out and start scrubbing, or bubbles or whatever the hell that are.
There is no pot scrubber.
Yeah. Our feature interview this week is with Julia Bentley of the Akron, Ohio sludge metal outfit Snaggletooth. Their latest album, Totem, is a concept album filled with reference to Native American superstitions and supernatural beliefs. Plus, it's an evil churning riff of a monster of a record.
Yeah.
We discussed the Ohio metal scene. Her husband, Chris, seemingly endless supply of arty ideas. Very talented fellow.
Yeah.
And Julia's tendency to run into things head first.
True story.
A bit of a warning, the audio is a little choppy because Julia is in the middle of nowhere in Ohio, but it kind of corrects itself fairly quickly. So stay tuned for that and hang in there. And see, Julia, I told you I would come up with the purple hair.
Look at that. Yeah. So let's play a song from Night Goat. This is Sister Wolf. Okay, let's talk about Patreon. The site is patreon.com/Snaggletooth Podcast. What did we add in this week? It was nice.
This week, although we had to do it in 3 segments because that would require drinking 6 beers.
Yes.
So we drank 2 a night. They do a neat thing at our local liquor store where you can make your own 6-pack. So I made my own secret 6-pack. Say that 4 times fast.
Yep.
It's a tongue twister. And put my lovely pink sleep mask on Mark and made him guess what kind of beer he was drinking, as well as, the notes and if you liked it, if you didn't like it. So
It was fun. It was fun.
Quite fun. We may do a part 2 of that.
It was kind of nice doing a little, what happened to you today with the beer, even though I was blindfolded for it. So, yeah. So to see me try to guess what beer I'm drinking.
And our Calico quite inserted herself into the video.
As she often does. So that's just another piece of exclusive content that you can only get over at patreon.com/Snaggletooth Podcast. Don't forget to subscribe to us on this YouTube channel, say hi on Instagram, and check out our Facebook page as well.
And definitely make sure you pick a subscribe level. You can become a member, a Snaggletooth minion for as low as $3.33 a month. People, that's less than a cup of coffee.
Absolutely.
In most places. So
absolutely. Okay, so I've been working from home 3 or 4 days a week ever since before the pandemic, and it's really developed to the point where I have a pretty good routine on Thursdays and Fridays. I get up, log in, answer a few emails, make some breakfast. I might do some dishes, write some material for the show. And then if the weather's nice and the work is pretty calm, around noon, I might put some pants on.
Yeah.
She thinks I'm joking. Go ahead.
Yeah. For me, it was the opposite because I went from 2 jobs to no jobs. And not having a job for me was horrible. So I had to feel like I was doing something. So I would go into my office and apply for as many random jobs as I could find. Most of them at that point were like a Walmart personal shopper.
Oh, wow.
Could you imagine? And or to order like an order fulfiller at Amazon. And Amazon had this really crazily long quiz that you had to take. And I was like, okay, so I guess this is going to take a while. And the questions were like, 2 coworkers are arguing about who does more work and who eats salad all day. What do you do? I'm like, A, ignore them. B, quit. C, buy a vowel. D, spin again. So they never emailed me back. So I guess they didn't like my humor.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure I got an F-.
I interviewed for a logistics job at Amazon, and it was so bad that I actually shut the interview down. I was like, you know what? I have a feeling that this isn't going to work out for either of us, but I really appreciate the time. It was so bad. It was everything bad about it,
I actually got hired for one of the Walmart jobs. And then when I saw what they were paying, I'm like, no, I think I'd rather be unemployed.
Yeah. I mean, hey, don't get me wrong. I'm not exactly high on the corporate ladder. The other day, the restroom attendant told me to make sure I put 2 sugars in his coffee. Anyway, all right, so totally unrelated. Remember when a sub shop was just a grease pit where you got half a pound of fried steak slathered in cheese on a huge roll? We knew it was fodder for heart attacks in the 80s and early 90s. Life was simple until Subway rolled out their evil plan.
Yeah.
Which I can't believe that these ideas got any traction from investors.
I mean, what was wrong with the simple cheesesteak in Philly? You walk up to that one place,
Yeah.
And if you order wrong, they'll send you to the back of the line at Pat's. But you need to say cheesesteak, what kind of cheese you want, which is Provi, Wit, which is cheese whiz. Okay. And then you say, I'm sorry, whiz. And then you say wit or without for onions. Those are the only 3 things you need. That's it.
Or you get the no soup for
These
you.
are the options.
No soup for you.
Yep.
Yeah.
If you say anything else or start asking questions, you're done.
Yeah, when I was a boy, when we got subs, that meant grease. It meant, it meant so much meat that you had to start eating it with a fork before you could even get it, get it where you could hold it.
You couldn't close it.
You couldn't close it. Right. But at Subway, could they make the meat any less attractive? The little paper trays with 2 ounces of looks like pre-microwave kibble in them.
It kind of looks homeless.
Bacon that looks like and tastes like strips of paper.
Yeah.
Did like a kid just draw bacon and you shrunk it up and that's what you put on this? Meatballs in marinara sauce that have been under a heat lamp for 3 weeks. I mean, they got a thing against meat at Subway. Yeah.
The fucking tuna and that's basically swimming in some kind of brine.
Yeah. And then you choose your weird mutant bread that they synthesize in the store.
It all tastes the same. That's what I don't get.
Regular bread doesn't taste like this. And why does the smell of their bread pods stay on your clothes and hair for hours after you eat there? You walk into a room and they go, oh, someone had Subway.
I think on purpose, it's artificially pumped out.
Yeah.
It's some kind of like, instead of like spraying like an air freshener, it's bread smell.
Yeah. It's like some psychological experiment. I thought I wanted a cheesesteak, but really I wanted sponge bread with extra cucumbers. Yeah, that makes sense, And
Ever seen everything people put on there? I would like a tomato, olives, hots, cucumbers, a couple small children, banana pudding.
Episode 1 of the show is about how you can judge people about how they order at Subway. And so go all the way back to episode 1. It's called
episode 1 on Spotify on our old channel.
Disruption at a Sandwich Shop. Yeah. So yeah, we have covered this slightly before, but not in this level of detail. Here's another thing. Just in Shark Tank, this would have never worked. Let's convince the public that eating subs is actually healthy. We'll get some guy that weighs 425 pounds that, oops, he happened to be a child molester. Oops, sorry about that. Yeah.
Yeah, he was recently in the news.
Kind of backfired. Was he really?
Yeah, he got sentenced to quite a bit.
Well, he's not supposed to get out to like 2029 or
Yeah.
something. Anyway, and we'll say that he lost a lot of weight eating a sponge and lettuce buffet. Yeah.
Well, I was always like, as soon as I heard that whole slogan, I was like, all right, what was this guy eating before?
Right.
Did he go to Pizza and eat both the pizzas himself?
Yeah.
And now he switched to one small sandwich. So I guess if he had to have been eating 2 pizzas and some fries and some jalapeno poppers, and then that was breakfast,
He was my 425-pound life. Yeah.
So he switched to sandwiches. Oh, look.
And last thing with Subway, I never understood, why are they so chintzy with napkins? I mean, they're making money. Why do they give you a foot-long meatball sub and they stick one lousy napkin in there? Like, that's going to do it? I don't think so.
Same, because it's a big, ridiculous space-age toasters that toast your stuff in
Is that where the money goes?
20 seconds.
Okay, so that's where the money goes.
That's where the technology is.
I was thinking also the other day, you can sort of tell someone's generation by the way they talk, Gen Xers, particularly Gen X men, we like things to be high performance, high tech, high frequency, high fidelity, high yield savings, high impact sports, walking on a high wire at high noon under high pressure, carrying highly explosive chemicals. That's Gen X men. Now, millennials and Gen Zs, particularly females, they like things low calorie, low carb, low key, low cost, low maintenance, low rider. They tend to lay low and give us the lowdown. Play a solo on the cello while listening to J-Lo. Let's play another song. Why don't you introduce it?
This is one of my favorite Night Goat songs. This is Ghost Sickness.
Right. Imperfect time. Okay, let's talk about imperfect foods.
All right. A word from our sponsor.
Yes, indeed.
This is Imperfect Foods. Great company doing great things. They're saving the world, and you can help save the world too. How, you might ask?
How?
By getting food from them, which might be ugly produce. It might be slightly imperfect food. It might be, broken almonds. It might be discarded sprinkles. But you can help out. It might just be overstock sometimes. And they'll tell you on there the reason why it's on there, if it's overstock or irregular, small, large.
Peanuts that were rejected by planners because they have PTSD.
So in doing this, you're getting food at a great price shipped right to your door. The meats at this place are phenomenal. The sriracha chicken is outstanding. Their chorizo is great. Their steaks are high quality. Their ground beef is fantastic. But they have so much more. They have chips. We love their cheese. We love their snacks. They have candy. They have cookies. Pretty much anything you could want. All of this, if you order $60 or more, is shipped to your door for free. So we have a new code.
Yes, so it's in the show notes. So click on the, what's the discount?
It's $20 off your first order of 60 or more.
It's time. Wax of Contrition. Now, Wax of Contrition won this week. Wax of Contrition won this week is another quality band, speaking of Ohio, Boulder. Now, Boulder were together for about 15 years before breaking up in 2005. They were the brainchild of metal maestro extraordinaire Jamie Walters, who would go on to form Midnight a couple years later. But Boulder were a unique entity. They had this sludgy riffs and vocals, kind of like I Hate God, but with intricate Thin Lizzy guitar harmonies. Boulder used to blow up Roadkill on stage. They did. And they had song titles like Disrespector, Random Hellholes, and Ravage and Savage. Now, the one that we're going to talk about is their last record that came out on TP.
Toilet paper?
No, TEPEE record.
Oh.
Okay, yeah. And it's called Reaped in Half. This was my favorite. Their sound had developed into something really unique, and it was really raw and savage on one hand, but such well-arranged guitar harmonies on the other hand. You know, you could tell they knew a lot of classic metal. So.
I want to say they definitely somehow combine Melvins, which seems to be a thing, and Motorhead.
Yeah, I figure they'd fit in well with the whole Night Goat thing. Okay, Wax of Contrition 2. Beer City Records and Skateboards have recently reissued Attitude Adjustment's rare 1991 record, Out of Hand.
Here it is.
Here it is. Look at that artwork. Now, a little bit of background. Attitude Adjustment are an often forgotten staple in the Bay Area thrash scene of the 80s. They were an important crossover band that regularly played shows with bands like Testament, Excel, Hyrax that kind of straddled both lines. Their debut album, American Paranoia, is a scorching document of crossover thrash, an absolute must-hear if you haven't heard it, okay? Now, the interesting thing is, by the time the early 90s rolled around, a lot of the crossover bands were sort of on their last dying breath. Like Nuclear Assault and DRI, they had gotten kind of jokey. But Out of Hand is actually more metallic with longer songs and even tighter than the first record. It was originally released by In Your Face Records in the UK, which was run by Cal from the band Heresy. In the liner notes, the bass player Eric McIntyre says, "We had been rehearsing a lot and finding ourselves technically growing as musicians. So we were not opposed to trying new things with the music. And the album is basically recorded live with minimal overdubs because we were a well-oiled machine at this time." Yeah.
I was reading where they have shared the stage with Violence, Sacrilege, Possessed, Hyrax, Death Angel, RKL, Dr. No, Suicidal Tendencies, Corrosion of Conformity, sorry, DRI, Discharge, UK Subs, Neurosis, The Exploited, and Operation Ivy, among others. Crazy.
Yeah, all over the map. Yeah. So let's play a song. This is Attitude Adjustment with Bed of Nails. So it's time to introduce the interview. So we had a great time talking to Julia from Night Goat, and here it is. Well, thanks for agreeing to do this. We, I mean, I guess as you saw, we really enjoyed the new album a lot.
Thank you. We appreciate it.
Yeah, we've been really pushing the merits of Bandcamp on the show lately because it is such an important way of bands to communicate with their fans.
Absolutely. Agreed 100%.
Yeah, I mean, Spotify kind of gatekeeps. You never know who's listening or, and then the streaming money is not there for anybody.
For a long time, I would, find bands I liked by just listening to Spotify release Radar, but there was so much more out there we were missing. And we're like, we got to do something about this.
Yeah.
There's a bunch of hidden gems on Bandcamp, that's for sure.
Yeah.
So you guys obviously are after the famous Melvin song. But, when I always kind of do a little research, and I've actually, in the short time, I found 2 other bands, one here in Baltimore and one in Australia with the same name. Obviously, it's a popular song. Have you ever run into problems because of it?
No, mostly people just get that it is one of our uses for the heaviness, I guess, the music and erratic. I guess sometimes of it as well. I think that's more the connection with the Melvins than anything.
Yeah.
Well, at least no one's tried to come after you like Black Rose. They had a big issue with that because there were so many. It actually stopped them from coming over from the UK because
that would be terrible.
Yeah.
They never got going.
Yeah.
So, I was worried about that as soon as I saw that. So how did you guys come together initially?
As a band? Well, Chris and I are married. Him and I actually met in a band. I was just like doing backup singing back in like 2007. So that's how I met him. But I actually met the bassist, Dalen, years before that. Separately outside of Chris. So I knew Dalen from one group of friends and then Chris from another group of friends, and Tommy, our drummer now, actually I found out since he'd been in the band is my second cousin, which is weird. So it's just kind of like a Chris is like a teacher when it comes to music. So he's very open-minded when it comes to the band as far as what's in and what's out. It's just what's working at the time. And I would say that me and Chris and Dalen for sure are pretty much like bonded, us 3 together. I don't think there could be a Night Goat without us 3. Donnie is definitely missed for sure, but Tommy brings something new. So I guess the energy kind of pulls us together.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, I noticed I love the artwork on the new one, the black and the purple. I would have done my hair purple, damn it, but I didn't have enough time. What and the last one, which is actually behind us right now. Just I love the artwork. Do you have someone do that for you, or do you come up with it yourself?
That is Chris. Chris actually has a graphics design degree. So he's really good at it. He has done band art, I guess, and promotions on that end of things, like in print for a long time, like back in the day when you'd have to like cut pieces out and like tape it all together and go make Xerox copies. Like that's where he started with it. So he's got a very artistic something niche going on, because he does it for our band, he does it for our business. He's just kind of like a living and breathing piece of art. Everything he touches ends up awesome.
I wanted to ask you guys are from Akron, is that right?
Our business is in Akron. We all are from Canton area. Chris and I actually live in Carrollton, which is about an hour south of Akron.
Okay.
As you can see, the sticks in the background here.
Yeah,
so I'm on high ground, so I've got good internet.
There was that label. I don't know if you're familiar with them or if there's a connection. There was a label called Shifty Records out of Akron. Do you remember them?
I don't. Chris probably does. Chris is very connected to Akron.
They had bands like Midnight and Boulder and who else? Fistula, and it was a kind of a sludge scene.
I know the two, Fistula and Midnight. They're awesome.
Yeah, Corey from Fistula, used to heckle. I used to have a website in the early 2000s. He would heckle us. It became like a
Oh,
regular
gosh.
feature. He would be like we would see. It was funny because he couldn't control that we kept getting Fistula albums to review from the label. They kept sending them to us,
Oh,
and we would go out of our way to trash it, even though we actually liked it, just for the rivalry. It was really
oh,
funny.
that's awesome.
Yeah. And we used to be like, "Fuck you, Corey." You know, it was just, I'll never forget that about Akron. I don't know. Yeah, yeah. So anyway,
Yeah, that label's long gone. We unfortunately.
yeah, it's long gone. But
Oh.
the bands on it were really something. They were all that kind of real heavy,
There's
sludgy.
still, I mean, Fistula, I seen them not long ago at our old location for a venue. They're awesome still.
Yeah, yeah, very cool. Yeah.
Midnight too, actually.
Yeah, yeah. We want to get him on the show, but we haven't been able to recently. I liked his old band, Boulder, a lot too. It was really good.
I don't think I've ever heard that one.
They were a little more I Hate Godish, but
Okay.
very, very
Sludgy.
very cool. Yeah, sludgy. Yeah, very cool.
So
Yeah.
I have to ask you, since I'm in your boat, I work with my husband.
Yeah.
Do you have a rule that you leave work at the office, or is it like a constant?
It is constant. It's constant. Because our life is just it's in flux so much. I kind of just go with it. I just kind of wake up every day and I ask Chris what's going on today. Because he's mostly in control of all of that because he knows what he's doing and I can't remember anything on a daily basis. So he's pretty much the guide, the guru of it all. I'm just kind of floating in it.
Oh, your vocals are a really important part of Nightgoat, though. I mean, there's not a lot of female. I mean, it's not that.
No.
I know Steel Pole Bathtub and Acid King are the only other bands I know that have a kind of a female singer that can cope with the noise, of this style of music. I mean, I'm sure there's others that I can't think of, but it makes you guys very.
I kind of grew up around it. My older brother was always in heavy stuff. So I like breathe the heavy riffs inside of me. I feel like, and the big hits on the drums, it's like I kind of I've wanted to do this like forever and it's just never had the opportunity. But when Chris asked me, it was kind of perfect because it all just kind of came together. Everything that I had learned and observed and felt and stuff over the years, and supported with just the timing in my life. I don't know. It gave me a place to dump it and leave it on the stage. Where else can a woman do it really? In the world? Not really anywhere else that they like too much.
You can't do it at the office. No, it doesn't.
I mean, you can, but
complain.
you get in trouble.
Give a meltdown by the water cooler. People talk about that stuff.
Yeah, Chris says my life is like falling down, like the movie.
With Michael
it feels
Douglas?
like it most days. Just kind of reacting.
You go in and you go, breakfast is not done, bitch. Make
No,
me pancakes. Right?
Yep. Yep. That's kind of like where I'm at right now with it.
Well, good for you. Good for you.
I noticed also if you put Milk and Totem, side by side, Milk is no shrinking violet, but I find your layers of vocals are so much more intricate on this one. It's like you really honed in on it. Was there something that inspired you, or it's kind of natural evolution?
Oh my God. Well, the whole album, music for the album was written first, and it was all done during COVID. It started during COVID. Like during like the shutdown, like right after everything opened back up was when we started recording it. And then as soon as the music was finished in the studio, our engineer went away for a little bit and came back 10 months later. So I had literally never even had a practice with them or anything. Like I just listened to the music for a little bit over a year, and when I do better with a deadline. So once I was given a deadline, like I wrote it out that day and went in. So they never heard anything until after it was already done, from my end. So there's an amount of trust there, and letting go, I guess, in the studio to kind of just trust me with it to see where it was going. But I think that's part of the fun for them too, as experienced, skilled musicians, is to like, I don't know, shake the cards up and see what comes, what you pick, what you get in your hand.
Spontaneous.
Yeah, it's definitely alive. Chris was adding stuff up until the last minute too, layer wise, and vocally, I've never really had that much control of what I'm doing in the studio, and that was the only way to do it, was with that spontaneous like writing, trying to fit it in. I don't know, work better under pressure.
Yeah, I feel you there. So Totem has a lot of almost all Native American themes. Where did the interest for that come from?
We've all got a little bit of Native American in us, in the band, Cherokee mostly. And basically, Chris wanted to do a concept album based on Native American rituals. And as I was researching the rituals, words were popping out at me, and I was relating these rituals like to my own life, like, and I don't know, I just had this moment of like being able to blend the whole concept album with like circumstances in my life that I was trying to explain. They just kind of coincided on the same lyrical path, I guess you could say.
That's cool.
It was really something, because I couldn't believe the similarities, but I guess that's why they are stories passed down by Native Americans in the first place, in ritual and practice, because they are applicable like on an individual level, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Have you heard any of Black Braid stuff?
Yeah.
Amazing. We had
him. Yeah, we had him on the show a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
And he's really, luckily a lot of people have really taken to him because it's such unique music. Yeah.
I mean, you have to have an open mind, I think, when you come into music, or else you're gonna miss stuff. You're gonna miss a lot.
Oh, yeah, you had me have to pull out the Google machine on Wendigo, and I was just like, what? So I had it as a supernatural being from the Algonquin Indians that kills and eats the victims. I guess not exactly like a zombie, more like a monster. But I loved the lyrics about possess me, devour me, and like I was wondering, was that like a modern day reference to something else? And like you said, it's so many layers.
Yeah, kind of like a Wendigo. A Wendigo, the main idea, I guess, that I gathered from each story in the Native American cultures, they all have a story kind of like a Wendigo, and it's about like an evil spirit that can take over and possess you. It's kind of the same thing for me, like with PTSD, because I can sometimes have like a emotional reaction that does not fit what is around me, because it's something that's from my past getting in the way of my thought process, of how I should react. So sometimes I'd give it like, I don't know, like I match people's behavior, stuff like that sometimes. The past getting in the way of your future, I guess, is the way I was looking at it. And it is kind of like an evil thing, PTSD, because you have triggers that will just like snap you into something. And usually you don't know until it's too late and over with what happened, and then the damage is already done, to people around you. So
Oh, I understand that. My last relationship was kind of an abusive one. And when Mark came into my life, it was just the littlest thing. I would think he was going to flip out or be mad, and I would be jumping out of my skin, and he'd be like, what is wrong with you?
It was terrible. It was terrible. The poor thing. Yeah.
I think we all walk with ghosts, anybody that's gone through anything like that. And like once you can figure out like your patterns and stuff like that, or just like try something different, that's when it all changes. And it doesn't feel good while you're doing it.
No.
I mean, growth hurts.
So I really liked, like, Sister Wolf, I think, is one of the most manic tracks. I love it. it's just this roller coaster of twists and turns. And I was wondering, was that done to capture a certain mood or mania?
I feel a lot of frustration as a woman these days. I don't know what it is. I just feel like I don't know if society feels like it's gone backwards a little bit. In some ways with I can't believe we're still fighting the fight that our parents fought, like kind of thing.
Yeah, when they retracted Roe versus Wade, I was like, what is happening now?
I don't know. It felt like the whole world kind of fell apart around me. I hit the glass ceiling real hard with my head. And Night Goat, with everything with Night Goat, it's weird being a girl in it, I guess, a little bit. It shouldn't be, but it is because it gets attention because I'm a girl. And that's good and bad, I guess. I mean, it just depends on how you're looking at it. I think it's great because more attention should be brought to females that are in the music industry. But not necessarily just because of that, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like I believe like I want to capture the audience of women, yes, because I want to have women feel as empowered as I do when I'm able to lay it on the stage and have a place to put it. Like anybody can have that if they try to do it. So that's what I would like to encourage other women to do that and use their voice. Sister Wolf is, I don't know, they're my sisters.
I love it. Now Death Perchance is by far the longest track, but I had some questions. There seems to be some voice samples sprinkled in, as well as is that a horn or a saxophone? Like
it's a saxophone.
Oh my
Yep, that's
gosh.
our buddy Matt Corey. Yep.
That was so unexpected.
Yeah, that one is a very tantric. We actually had to cut that song down to fit on the record. It went on even longer than it does on the record right now. It's a very tantric sort of rhythmic, hypnotic sort of song. I think that it really could have been put anywhere on the record to just kind of carry you away for a minute. It's definitely insane at the end.
Yes.
That was a lot of fun to do in the studio. I think everybody had a piece of mastering that song. Like everybody did some cool stuff with Jeremy in the studio just to kind of mess with the regular sounds a little bit, because we like to keep everything pretty raw. But when I go down a wormhole, I've discovered I really go down a wormhole. I'm like trying to learn how sound works in recording and on like a stage, and then like from your instruments at the same time. So for me, how my brain works is I have to like keep going and keep asking questions. So it really either annoys people in the studio or they like it and they'll go down the wormhole with me. That's probably why I ended up recording alone, but
no, I know what you mean. Does Chris, I don't know if Chris can relate, but with doing this show, everything's another app I got to learn. Everything's got another $5 subscription so I can make a graphic look a certain way or a camera or whatever. And it just feels like I'm never done with it. You know, I'm always
I thought he was going to kill me when I suggested green screen. He's like, I'm not learning something else right now.
Just, I mean, does it ever get like that with Chris? Because I mean, it looks like
it has to. I mean,
yeah.
He does not say much under pressure or anything like that. And I think he is more versed and strong at it than he knows he is, kind of a thing. Because I mean, I'm not lying here. I don't even know how to burn a CD. Like I am that person. I just go buy the music. He is very up to date with all of that stuff. Like,
You have to be.
I'd be lost without him and my kids when it comes to technology.
Yeah, I understand. Yeah, Stacy's the big social media promoter because I suck at that. So that's how we feed off each
Right.
other. I do the tech stuff, and she does all the social media. Because if it was up to me, we'd have 4 followers. So
I get it. I mean, I have this like, I don't know. The way I pick and choose to like tag things is I just include them all. Like,
yeah,
include them all at once. Get everybody, start a giant algorithm, and I mean, I don't know what I'm doing with it. I just
she's got the magic touch. I feel like if I said, "Hey, cure for cancer," I get like 3 hits. She'd be like, I don't believe in it. Sounds like a bunch of bullshit to me. So, anyway.
I always kind of ride the line, sort of, on the edge of what could cause an uproar and what couldn't. I mean, I like to make people think about things. I think people should think about things. I think that's what punk rock is for. Is a platform to make people think about things. And I'm not like out to have like my own agenda, but I am going to like bring the things that affect me to the table for other people to think about, because if they could see things from my perspective, then great. Like, that we're one step closer to being humans. Like,
yeah, it kind of reminds me of a School of Grind. We saw them live, and they do this speech at every show about inclusion. It's really, and I think it's important to get that out there, especially that kind of crowd.
It was cool to see a band like that and they were opening for a bunch of grizzled old Exhumed fans, like me.
Yeah.
So it was nice to have that youthful, the young and the old together. It was very cool. Yeah.
You have to have that. It's almost like younger people can remind older people why, and older people can teach younger people how.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
They played at FemFest at our venue. They're awesome.
Yeah, they are awesome. Wow. Yeah.
It's like, I asked her, how many calories do you burn on stage?
Yeah.
Are you that physical? Because I couldn't find you guys performing live a whole lot.
I am like dying after every show. It is like the most intense like cardio workout ever. Like, it's like a exorcism. I don't know. It's just something that it's very energetic. It's very doesn't stop. I can barely breathe. I've thrown up on myself before. Like, I mean, it is like I don't use like any effects or anything like that either. It's just all just changing what I'm doing at the same time as running around like a maniac on stage, hitting things.
Yeah.
I'm trying to build the perfect thing to hit. I haven't found it yet though.
What?
Yeah, when we were talking to Katerina, we hit on it a little bit. We said, you ever watch the old videos of like the bands from the 70s and they're killing it vocally? And they're all fucked up. They're all on drugs. I mean, no one I've talked to can perform that way under the influence doing the
no.
I don't know how they pulled it off back then, I don't know.
That is one thing. My eyes are normally closed. Like, they are normally closed. I got vertigo once from the lights. That's why I wear a hat most of the time. I was on the ground after a show for like 2 hours. They couldn't pick my face up off the ground, like, just from the lights triggering something. So I end up places. I end up getting my face smashed by bass guitars or running into the drums or falling off stage. I mean, it happens, but I can't do it if I'm like, I can't get there if I'm not like in my head, if that makes sense. Like, I don't know. It's not a pretty place where it comes from, but.
Was it true that you ran into a tree during a video shoot?
Oh my God. Yeah. Yeah.
What happened?
Just a pine tree. I'm kind of doppy. Yeah, I run into things. I run into poles. Did that yesterday. Dropped a hammer on my head last week. Yeah.
God. Oh, I've only had one concussion, and that was ice related. We were walking on a sidewalk, didn't see black ice. I went back, bam.
Yeah.
Like, dizzy for like 3 weeks.
Yep.
It was horrible.
I got one from a band. I passed out. Literally, my brother's band was getting ready to go on tour, and I passed out and hit my head on a freezer.
Oh no.
Just from getting vertigo, like the music. I don't know. I feel like I'm like this. I feel music so much. I try to make other people feel what I'm feeling when I'm up there screaming my witchy stuff.
Yeah.
I hope people get that. I think people get the point. They must get the point.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Most definitely.
I said you were channeling an evil version of Marianne Faithfull. Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Maybe. I'm
Younger,
channeling
much younger version.
all the women.
Yeah.
You know, I love the feedback and stuff that you guys use, and I've always loved that one note hanging. Like Skinwalk with me, that it starts with it, and then it seems like other songs will end with it. How do you pick, like, kind of what, if it starts it, if it ends it, is it random?
Oh my gosh, it is so random because I tried to pick the songs apart to write lyrics, like to be like all type A about it and everything, and it did not make sense. Like I couldn't break it down like a normal song, that one or Death Crow Dance. It was like it's an off time kind of sometimes, but maybe it's rest. I don't know. Sometimes it's off time, sometimes it's a rest, sometimes it's like a round, how it kind of compiles onto itself. It's mostly a knowing just from being with each other though, like because the songs feel to me, they swear that they don't, but I swear that the songs change every single time we play them. I don't know. It might be one of those phenomenons that happens like when you're in a band and you think it's happening and it's not. I swear it just all depends on when we all look at each other like and mentally get the go ahead to do the next thing and the next line. Like I don't know, it's a weird vibe we ride.
Yeah. Buzzo from the Melvins was like the master of the feedback squall. He would like massage one note for 10 minutes. I like go to the bathroom and come back. Like, are we still doing this? You know, like, you know what I mean? Like that's, he kind of patented that, I think. Yeah.
I do know what you mean because you can get lost in it and it can lead you back into the song anywhere.
Yeah.
Really.
Yeah. And I would think, all right, how much have I drank? Because it seems like this is going on for like a really long time, you know. Maybe it's me. I don't know.
No. It's fun though. That's what makes it fun live.
Yeah, I mean, when you just leave that one note hanging, does the crowd like go insane?
Oh my God, Donnie's drumming is so incredible. I mean, I make sure he understands. I mean, I know it's a lot of the Dale Crover style, but I mean, he teases Raining Blood on one of the songs. I picked up on it. There's that one, I don't know, I forget what song it is, but dun dun dun. I was like, wait a minute.
That's Wendigo, probably.
Yeah.
I think that's Wendigo.
So his message got through to me. Just to make sure.
Donnie has so many different influences. It's awesome. Like he's heavy, he's black metal, he's country. Like he could do anything, and he's been playing since he was a kid.
Oh yeah, you can tell.
Oh yeah, he's real good.
Yeah, real good.
He hits hard.
Yeah.
All right, so it's time. I have recently recalibrated these questions. We do this thing where we ask you 5 questions. Now I have 100 questions in front of me. So I want you to pick 5 numbers between 1 and 100.
33, 12, 21, 3, and 6.
Yeah, we have to keep shuffling these because some bands will only pick like 69 and
77.
So I keep shuffling. Oh, it's a work in progress. All right, so we're starting off with 33. If I can get this page turned, there we go. What is the first record or CD that you bought yourself?
Oh, Lord.
We know it's going to be terrible. It always is.
It's Wham.
There it is.
Wham.
I don't know. Wham's not terrible. Really.
I'm dating myself. That was my first tape. My first CD was a Lemonheads.
Okay.
Oh,
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Evan Danda.
A little
Yeah.
bit better.
Yeah.
I think my first one.
And
was-
I have all my children's records from when I was a kid.
Oh, really? That's cool. Yeah.
Yep.
I wish I did.
Number 12. Is there a show you are currently or were once obsessed with?
Like a television show.
Yeah.
Small Wonder.
Oh, really?
It was on Saturday mornings. It was this robot girl that could stop time by like putting her 2 index fingers together. And I used to do that.
I remember
To
that.
just,
They
like,
like
get a
kept
little
her in a
recording.
closet like a vacuum.
Yeah, she was like a robot. She had like a whole pack that came off of her back, like opened up.
Maybe they kind of channeled that to the Umbrella Academy with the robot mom, except she couldn't stop time.
Yeah.
Number 21. Do you hang your toilet paper over or under?
Well, it doesn't. Well, I guess over.
Really? Stop.
I prefer to have it over, but it's never even like on the thing. It's usually just sitting there. Like people don't do that.
You see
We're
that it
very
needs to be
busy.
done, and then you're just like, not today. Not today.
Yeah,
I'm
I'm
not
like,
putting it on the
no,
spool. It's exhausting.
somebody's just gonna take it off anyway. I don't know. It must be a security thing.
Number 3. Have you failed at anything? And if so, what?
I have failed at lots of things. I have failed at. I fail at being a parent a lot. That's a learning process. I failed many relationships, but they're also learning processes.
Yeah.
Had lots of interviews for jobs, don't get them.
You always
Yeah,
kind
I
of
fail. I fail every day.
I kind of consider them not failures. They're like, okay, lesson learned. Let's move on.
Your kids are good at reminding you of your failures. You ever notice
Yes.
that? That's kind of, they all excel at that.
Yep, so brothers too.
Yeah, exactly. Hey, remember when? And you're like, all right, shut up. Stop.
Mhm.
You can do 42 things right, and they'll remember the one
They'll
thing
remember
you
the one.
messed
Yeah.
up.
Always.
Yep.
All right, number 6. What is a Marvel character you would like to be?
Oh God, I always get them confused. That's the problem. Marvel would be Wonder Woman, right?
Yeah.
No, Marvel's like
Oh.
Spider-Man and Iron Man and all that. And DC is
Okay.
Batman and Superman and Wonder Woman.
Okay, so like Storm from the X-Men.
Oh yeah, that was a good one. Yeah. Holly
I'd
Berry?
say Storm.
It was Holly
yeah.
Berry, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Storm. That Chris calls me a storm. I literally like bring the weather with me.
Really? That's quite a talent. Yeah.
Well, you're
It's
out there
kinda
harassing
cool.
pine trees, so.
I know, they're my friends. I'm a tree hugger.
Maybe that's why you have that superpower, because you run into things. Maybe it's jarred something loose where you can bring the weather. in.
I'm positive it has, and Chris would probably agree with you.
So you guys have a East Coast tour coming up in July?
Yes.
I see you are smartly missing Baltimore. You'll be in Pittsburgh and DC, so it'll be right around us.
Yeah, whoever booked that new to skip us, we're in Baltimore. Because you'll get
Aww.
4 guys in black shirts clapping on a Thursday night. I just
Hey, Chris knows some other people in Baltimore too, though. He keeps saying we're gonna get there.
Yeah. I used to I would go to shows like on a Tuesday night, and I would just apologize to the band. I'm like, this is what you get. And Tuesday night in Baltimore.
You know what? It's post-COVID. That's just how it is everywhere
Yeah,
now.
I've heard that. Yeah.
Yeah. In Ohio, it's weird. Screwed our tolerances a little bit here.
Yeah.
So everybody had to stop drinking at like 10 during that whole thing.
Oh, geez. Yeah.
Yeah.
Any
That's-
idea who
that's-
might be coming out on the road with you guys?
I don't know. I do not know yet. And if Chris knows, he hasn't told me, which could be the case because sometimes things work out better when I don't know. But if everybody knows and I don't, then I better be asking some questions. I've been asked who we would want to, but I mean, shoot, I'm not going to be very choosy. This is all new for me, and I'm just excited to do it. I'm sure whoever we go on the road with would be awesome. I did see Susie Moon last night, and she was like, "Let's do it." I'm like, "Okay." Like, there's one possibility. Like, they played with the Queers up in Akron. That was
cool.
fun.
Do you have any favorite or least favorite bands that you've toured with in the past?
I've never toured. I have never toured. No, this is new for me.
Oh, wow.
And the closest I've come to touring is a trip with my husband and my daughter that took 2 weeks out west and back. And fish back in the day. Other than that, I've never toured before. Chris has, they all have. I guess I'm in for it.
What fish like PHISH, the jam band?
Yeah,
Oh, wow,
that's
you're
where I
one
get
of them. Okay.
I
wouldn't have taken you for one of them. Yeah.
No, I went to my first show when I was 15. So they taught me to be very open-minded with music, I would say. And that whole live performance thing, the energy, I love that. That's one awesome thing at those shows. And yes, I get made fun of every single day, and I don't care.
All the metal people are like, really? Yeah.
I'm like, you must not understand jazz.
I was talking to my brother about this the other day. So if you think about like the late 90s and just how much music has changed, like pop music or whatever, think about the biggest bands that they were on the radio all the time were like Dave Matthews, the Spin Doctors, Hootie and the Blowfish. These jam bands were like really, I mean, they were selling like thousands and thousands of records. Just that would never happen now. I mean, nobody cares about music with guitars at all in the world of pop music. It's changed
insane.
so much.
It's insane to me. Like, you grow up thinking other countries are censored, with radio and media and stuff like that. But then you tune into our radio stations here in America, and it's just like, well, you're not getting a very big selection of the music that's out there at all on the radio. And I know people don't listen to the radio like they used to, with the internet and all that. You could just like pick your genre and stick with it too. That's kind of another way I think that sucks a little bit, because then you get stuck like in your lane. That's one thing I do miss about the old days, is the not knowing like what was going to come out. But I don't think it'll ever be like it was. God.
No.
You're right.
I don't see it. No, it's too. I think that it seems like most of the pop music is almost generated by kids, like because they're gonna play the same song over and over and over and over again.
They're recycling. They're even taking samples and recycling music itself. Not being creative. It's like media now tells you how to play, how to create. You're not having to come up with it yourself. All the games and the apps and stuff like drive you a certain direction. And that's where I think, being somebody like me that doesn't know how to burn a CD, I might be a little naive in some areas, but it also gives like a real, like, authentic creative element to what I do, because I'm not influenced by those things. So like, if kids could just unplug for a minute, and get away from that stuff and like feed that other side of their creativity, that spontaneous side, who knows what would happen if they weren't just, being told how to create. Yeah. Does that make sense to you?
Do you read actual paper books, like printed books?
I am the person that read every single college textbook cover to cover. So when I graduated, I have not read at all anymore. Okay. Mostly, I'm a mother of 3. I mean, I haven't had a lot of time over the past 23 years
Understood. Yeah.
to do a lot of that. We collect books because Chris can read them faster than I can read a paragraph.
Wow.
Is like a wordsmither.
Yeah, I feel ya. I'm a mother of 3 too, and I got to the point where I missed reading. So when I went for a run, I would listen to audio books while I was running. That was the only time I could fit it in.
Chris does that in the car. I don't know. I feel like I don't know why I don't, to be honest. I don't know. Get my life is just so crazy. I can't like not follow the carrot that's in front of me. I guess I got ADD a little bit.
Yeah, I
Can't
like
stay
I like
focused on it.
whenever I break out a paper book, I feel like I'm off the algorithm. I'm not being tracked. You know what I mean?
Oh
It's,
yeah.
you know what I mean? It's like I'm they don't know what to do with me because I'm actually doing something analog, you know.
I
don't know,
have
I get kind of a
we have
thrill
a
out of
record
it.
store, and I have a lot of books that I just have collected over the years that I have read or that Chris has read, that young people need to get their eyes on and like actually read and smell, like To Kill a Mockingbird, like
Yeah.
books like that. And he also, Chris, I found like every No Depression magazine from the 90s, like the entire catalog. Like I have what is not Associated Press, AP, Alternative Press,
Oh yeah.
Guitar magazines, all these collections of all these different rock magazines with all these different articles and stuff in it. That was all in print in the 90s. And kids don't have that.
Yeah.
They don't have that anymore. Everything's online and everything's so expensive to print. And it's like, I couldn't imagine not having that when I was a teenager. And I know that they have like everything on their phones and everything, but it's just so impersonal, like then carrying around like a backpack full of magazines with Kurt Cobain all over it,
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
or anybody from that era. Like, I don't know. It was easy to carry your hero in your back pocket, I suppose.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now you just have to add them to your Spotify like playlist.
Yeah.
And then you lose your phone, and then your like life is gone. Like, I've had like 2 backup phones for the last 2 years because I lose my phone so often. That's probably why I'm not on grid so much, because I would lose my life 4 times a day.
You ever lose it in an Uber?
No, I don't have Ubers where I live.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I did. It's impossible to get it back because when you log into Uber, it actually says, click here. We lost your phone. I'm like, great, click there. We sent a code to your phone. I'm like, really?
It's so
Yep.
dumb.
Yes, absolutely.
It's happening thousands of times a day, all over the country. People are leaving their phones in Ubers everywhere. So I don't know why they don't have a good system for getting it back.
The dual authentication, of course. Call the number that you don't have.
Like, great. Okay. I did eventually get it back.
I was shocked at how hard it was to get it.
It was
back.
really hard.
Yeah.
So don't ever do that.
I had the same phone number for about 20 years, and I dropped my phone in a river tubing.
Oh my.
And that felt so good to get rid of that number. My life was so quiet. It was wonderful.
Yeah, you were fully unplugged at that point.
I was like, well, fuck it.
It's great. Yeah. Well, this has been great. Thanks for all your candid answers, and we wish you huge luck on your first tour.
Thank you. I'm excited.
Yeah,
I hope
it's gonna be great.
it doesn't smell too bad in the van.
We don't want to see you on the news now, so you got to behave yourself, right?
I've been told. I have been told. I have some issues going on, but
well, we'd like to see you on the news because you're popular, but not for anything else, so.
Right.
Yeah.
Not
no stories, no incidents. Yeah.
We'll have to see if
no
we can't
incidents.
we'll have to see if we can't get down to DC. We're a little DC. My daughter used to live there. We got pepper sprayed in DC randomly by it was a drive-by pepper spray shooting.
Yeah.
What the heck?
I know, and apparently we're the only people that it happened to, because we were expecting.
We were standing outside a restaurant, like waiting for the Uber to come back and get us, and some guy pulled up and went.
Yeah.
What the frick?
I know.
I've seen some weird things happen in DC.
Yeah,
some awesome things.
There's always
love
an
it.
incident whenever we go. Something like that always happens.
Very aggressive homeless people. I'll have to say that.
Yeah, it's
They
true.
must
Yeah, they'll bang right on your car and stuff. Yeah, it's
stare
That's
right
the only
at.
place I've ever had people actually just ask for food, though.
Yeah.
really.
Mm-hmm.
I did in Towson. We were leaving a restaurant and some guy walked up to me and asked if he could have my to-go box. I was like, sure.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
If you want it that bad, absolutely.
Yeah. If you're hungry.
Yeah.
Oh, well, I hope to come to DC and meet up with you guys sometime because
That'd
you're
be great.
fun.
That'd be great.
Maybe next time you can hit Baltimore. It's been crazy. Like we went to the Baltimore soundstage to see Dope and Static X. You could not have fit another person in that place with a shoehorn. It was.
Oh, and you were
That's
talking about
awesome.
getting hot on stage. You should, if you get a chance, Google what Static X's singer has to wear now. He wears this robot get up.
So he's
like
a
on his-
Wayne Terminator.
He's
slash.
he's like a Terminator. I can't imagine how fucking hot he must be in that on stage with all
Oh
those
my
lights
God.
and everything. No wonder he's skinny as a rail. It's not from heroin.
I don't know. But I wear a lot of the like vinyl and stuff like that. And holy God,
breathe.
it's hot.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
It's hot.
It's like you said, it's good cardio. Yeah. Ugh.
Yep. It's my workout.
The sounds of decay!
So we are up to Sounds of Decay. These are the bands you are not listening to, but should be listening to yesterday.
Yep.
This is Sounds of Decay 1, Exhibition, The Last Laugh. Ho hum, another day, another scorching debut.
Seems that way, doesn't it? Yeah.
This one is from Buffalo, New York. It's a 5-piece playing, I don't know.
Guitaristic hardcore, stripped back thrash metal. I don't know.
At any rate, The Last Laugh is a 23-minute non-stop ear violation aggression.
Yeah.
Songs like Crucified and Bottom Feeder should make it clear this is not a collection of emo show tunes.
No, not by a long shot. No. Vocalist Brett Brio conjures up equal parts hardcore bark and death grunt. Plus, just about every song has a distinct slowdown to get the mosh pit churning. Think SOD, Carnivore, Evil Army. Some reference points for you.
They are traditional and fierce. That thrash metal energy just brims up out of them. And then they sprinkle in these hardcore moments. It's quite an interesting.
Yeah.
But believe me, pedal to the metal, they get it done in 23 minutes.
Yeah. Yeah. The song Predator, I like that one. It pulls from the well-known 1989 trick of starting off with a TV evangelist quote, and then a hard pan riff comes in with this decapitating crunch. The drummer's name is Nick Terlecki. He does the well-timed. I don't know how to describe that. The evil has no boundaries thing. So the song we're going to play for you is the closer of the album, The Fire, which is the disc longest track. It's about 3.5 minutes long, and it is the hardest punch to the face on the album. Scowly gang vocals, ludicrous speed, and then it segs into probably the album's best riff. And there's a touch of Maiden to the guitar harmonies that come before a dramatic solo. So I would say, to sum it up, Exhibition is the power of 80s crossover thrash funneled through the aggression of modern youth.
Wow, well done.
Yeah, it's fantastic stuff. So let's play a song. Why don't you introduce it?
This song is called The Fire. All right, we're up to Sounds of Decay 2. This is Command with Death Age.
Command with a K.
And it's another 5-piece.
Yes.
But this one is from the other coast, Los Angeles. They're definitely entering a new phase of their career. They originally formed in 2015 with demos, and around 2020, Terroscape, smartly distributed by the Maggot Stomp label. I love these names.
They're the 200 Stab Wounds label.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Freshly added to the $20 spin roster, these 5 delinquents are out to do some serious damage with their latest LP.
EP.
I'm sorry, it's an EP. which is available on multiple groovy swirled vinyl colors.
Yes, I was awash in envy.
Command tears into the apocalyptic muck with cave dweller croaks, pulverizing speed bursts, painful doomy trudges, and filthy riffing.
Yeah, there's no fancy technical stuff to be found on a Command song. It's just flattening OSDM. The vocalist Jesse Sains can wolf with the best of them. There's even some dissonant Slayer-style harmonies in Chimera Soldiers. A lot of people are making bolt thrower references, but I hear more of an Asphyx Autopsy style emerging with the doomy versus the speedy segments. The artwork does remind me of the first bolt thrower and like Napalm Death records, though. So this is like a 30-minute gut punch that needs to be explored,
And must have brothers, Tim Shriver and Sam Shriver, both in the band.
Oh, it is a brother thing, eh? So, all right, so let's play a song. This is Chimera Soldiers. Okay, Sounds of Decay 3 comes from France, the land that brought us artists like Deathspell Omega and Plutus Nord. This is Gorade, formerly known as Gorgasm. 5 Frenchmen that have been dispensing a sort of philosophical tech death for nearly 20 years. The Orb is their 7th full-length record, and it's packed with all kinds of tempo shifts, exotic guitar solos, pretty complex riffing, and fluid percussion. The band's lyrics are really interesting. They explore heady philosophical narratives. The English is very well written, very thought-provoking, questioning mankind's propensity for self-annihilation, pondering the vastness of space and time, dropping homage to Wodoblok and Hindu gods, and throwing in an oddly placed cover of The Doors' Strange Days. Didn't see that one coming, don't you know?
Yeah, they actually changed their name to avoid confusion with an American death metal band that had the same name.
Gotcha. Well, this is quite a treat for tech death fans. I mean, the drummer's name is Carol Deers, Carol with a K. He plays like he's got 5 arms. I mean, he goes from shifting from crazed blast beats to expansive tom rolls in the flash of an eye. I love Scale of Sorrows. It's just blistering, 2 guitarists, Mathieu Pascal and Nicolas Alberni. They move from sweeping shred blitzes to elegant harmonies, like very few bands I've heard. Listen to the dazzling performances in songs like The Orb and Savitri for evidence of their virtuosity. If you're into stuff like Kralis and Will to Run, both of which have been featured here,
Yes, they have.
you should definitely be swooning over this racket. So let's play a song. This is The Orb. Oh, that one went by quick.
Really super quick. I guess I was looking forward to it all week, and now it's over.
I know.
Kind of like the weekend.
Hey, it's over before you know it. So, well, we talked about how everybody likes to just sit in their car and smoke around here.
And the clouds of hot smoke that we
Have to run through. Yeah.
They're just sitting there waiting for us to go.
Yeah. What else did we cover?
We talked about the reason scientists do not know apparently why a bicycle stays, which I thought was pretty much,
I wonder how much money's being sunk into that grant, And of course, we had a wonderful discussion with Julia, and we talked about magazines and backpacks and her hitting her head against a tree.
Their gorgeous purple vinyl.
Yeah.
Definitely awesome. And restroom attendants and hair dryers.
What's the joke? It's my wife can't do anything right. The other day she hit a tree with her car. I said, "What'd you do?" She said, "Well, I did hit the horn first." That's a real one. Shout out to the late great Rodney Dangerfield. So
this has been the Snaggletooth Decay Extreme Music Podcast. Special thanks to Julia Bentley from Night Goat for such a great interview. If you haven't gotten over to Spotify to check them out, do so immediately. Do not stop go. Do not pass go or stop go. Also, check out their gorgeous vinyl. Really beautiful. Get some for yourself. Snaggletooth themes, courtesy of Gustav Jord of Defleshed. We love you, Gus. We can't wait to see you in Maryland Death Fest. Sounds of Decay themes by Steve Rathbone of Lair of the Minotaur. Decay bands. Get over there and check them out. Go Rod, Command Exhibition. All one words except for Night Goats this time around. All content is trademark 2023, the Snaggletooth Decay Extreme Music Podcast.
Get a dose of your own medicine.
This is the Snaggletooth Extreme Metal Podcast.